Hey, Lyric C. Anderson, super excited to have you on here. I know I start this off and I always sound like a teleprompter is right
Of
there.
course, it's a good intro.
Oh, thank you. I would just love to get to know who is the woman behind this acting career that's coming on, this law degree that's coming on, coming from a family with names to it. Who is that? Who is Lyric C. Anderson at the end of the day?
Okay, so Lyric C. Anderson is, I would say, very multidimensional. I consider myself to be both a creative and an intellectual. Like you just said, I'm in law school now, which is completely different from the work that I've done in entertainment and the acting work that I'm doing now. I have such a love and respect for fashion and art, performing arts, acting, but I also have a really big understanding and respect for the academic world. And me being in law school reflects that. So I feel like I'm that person that's somewhere in the middle of those two dimensions. And I'm just a woman who perseveres, a woman who has dreams like so many other women in the world. And I'm just trying to work hard and do my best, let God lead the way, and hopefully achieve a lot of the dreams that I'm working on.
Nice. I feel like you tap into both sides of your brain. Like you don't fit into any
Mhm.
one box. Like, the Divergent series where it was like, where you couldn't fit into one of those things because
Yes,
you are
yes.
truly all of them. When you need to be one of them, you are as well.
Yes, and that's a great point that you mentioned because that's what it feels like. It feels now that, House of Vicious has wrapped, obviously, and I'm in school now, and it was literally the first day I was like, oh my gosh, I have to shift. Like it's a completely different side of my brain. Like I'm not learning lines, I'm reading 50 to 60 pages a night and, preparing to go back and forth with the professor and discussion and analysis of a case and how the law applies to these cases. And so it really is a completely different side of me. And it's different from undergrad because undergrad, I feel like most of the classes are lecture style, so you are first for a lot of classes, you can be sitting there just taking notes on what the professor's saying. For law school, you may be randomly called on, and
You gotta put all those
right,
tips on
it's
how to
like
get away with murder shows. You gotta put
oh
those
no,
to use.
literally, it's like and how to get away with murder. I mean, my professors don't make us stand up or any of that, but it can get really intimidating because you've got to be able to analyze that reading that you just did the night before and go back and forth with the professor. So
What's more intimidating, reading your lines when the camera's on, or arguing
yes, yes, yes.
your tort to your professor?
I don't know. I think because with the creative aspect of my life, like acting, I feel like you can go in so many different directions with the choices that you make. And as long as you own those choices and commit to whatever decision you made about the character and how you wanted to portray it, that's completely your prerogative.
Yeah,
Whereas with law, it's way more specific, it's way more precise. You don't get to color outside the lines.
yeah,
The law is the law, the case is the case. So you know it or you don't. It's not, oh, I'm just going to decide that I'm going to do it this way.
yeah.
And so, they both require you to perform at a high level, but in different ways.
No, I definitely get it. I feel like it's one of those things where you could commit and you could change the director or producer's mind. You can say, no, my character, Sheila, she would do this. Sheila
Well,
is
I
that
would
girl.
not suggest doing that to the director. He says it's supposed to, she wants it like this.
Be like, no. Maybe talk to the writers a little bit and say, hey, I think maybe.
I'm not there yet.
I'm just getting my start, so I'm not trying to hurt no one because you're in the business of egos and emotions.
Yeah, and you don't want to ruffle feathers, especially me. I'm just starting, so I wouldn't do that. I have so much respect for anybody who's making it in the business that, they're farther along than me. I'm gonna listen and learn.
Nice. I love that. What really got you to want to get into acting? Like what made you go, you know what? I want this. This is my purpose. This is a passion. This is what I'm here for.
Well, interestingly enough, which a lot of people don't know, I actually started out acting when I was very young.
Oh,
And I had an agent. I was auditioning all the time for scripted work, commercials, everything. I ended up testing for television, which is that's intimidating too, because that's you being like, that's like the final round when they've narrowed it down to like maybe three
wow.
or four people, and now you're in a room with network decision makers and the producers and the writers just in one room watching you audition. And so it's really an accomplishment to make it to that round. So I did make it to that point. I just fell in love with fashion and I just went like, and so I started like pursuing modeling. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where people, I guess, they have no idea that I was actually acting before. So I feel like I did a whole 180, because now
Yeah.
I'm back to acting again.
I feel like you're one of those people where it's like this world is so commercialized where everyone has to choose one thing to do, right? But you're so
Yeah.
multifaceted and talented where you would love a utopia where, Lyric can wake up and, Monday she's designing and styling, and on Wednesday she's writing the script and acting, and on Friday she's, helping someone with a legal case. That would be perfect for you. But based off of bills and people's time frames, you have to choose.
Yeah, and that in a perfect world, and I think about this all the time, in a perfect world, you want to be able to live out all of your dreams, right? But I think eventually what you're supposed to be doing most prominently, God is going to let you know and lead you there. So that's kind of how I feel about having so many different passions. And I'm one of those people that believe whatever your passion is, try it, work hard, do the best that you can do, but I feel like ultimately God's going to make the decision for you.
Nice. I love that. How do you feel on this journey right now? Where do you feel like God is showing you the way?
I feel that timing has been everything, and that's why I said it was so amazing that House of Vicious actually had already wrapped, and so I could dedicate so much time to law school. There was literally no conflict. The only conflict I faced was when I was about to start preparing like for the process of House of Vicious, when my mom asked me to read for the role, and I was like, no, I'm studying for the LSAT. Like that's where my focus is. And she was like, oh my gosh, no, but I want you to read for it. Like, let's just see if you would be a fit for it. Obviously the other producers and everyone had to sign off on like my read for the role, but she was the one who was like, please, please, please. So that's why I say like, sometimes you could actually be living multiple dreams
Yeah.
at once, and then maybe one will start to peak more than the other, and you'll figure it out at that point. But I would never shut anything down that I am passionate about.
Nice. So, you're in law school, and once you graduate, obviously you're gonna, go for the bar. You're gonna pass it. We're already claiming it. You're passing the bar exam. First try. Well, first try, you're passing. First try. Will I know being a lawyer, long hours, all those things, right? Will that mean this will be the ultimate career for you, or will you still kind of find a balance between everything else?
Hopefully I can find a balance. My goal with law school, this is a whole other passion. I love the sports world. I grew up with a sports background through my dad when I was growing up, and then my sister also played basketball growing up. So I was frequently at a basketball game at one point or another, and so I just love the enthusiasm of sports, how it unites people with so much passion.
Yeah.
People like really get up in arms about sports, and it's just
Very.
this whole, like I said, enthusiasm and passion and fervor for this field. So I would love to see my legal career go in the direction of being in the sports realm, maybe working for a league or a team or at a sports firm, because I just feel like for my family legacy, that would be amazing to be able to uphold my last name, in the sense of I'm not going to get on the court or the field and play anything, but I can be behind the scenes of it.
You really like the mixture between both parents, right? You're tired, you take.
Right.
Then where did law come in at? That's so like 180 from, entertainment and fashion.
Yeah, well, law is like the intellectual side of me. When I was little, I always was going back and forth with the people in my family, like, because I always had to be right. I always had to prove a point.
Yeah.
I was just that person that just was very passionate about the point that I was trying to make. And so from an early age, from being in school and just excelling academically, I thought about pursuing a legal career. So that's kind of how that got into the picture.
Yes.
And, it just happened to be the right timing to actually pursue it. And then
Nice.
mix it with sports, that's how that.
Definitely. I love that. Everything you're going through, you grew up, in such a light with certain parents, right? And this isn't about them, but this is about you. How did you deal with that? Because, a lot of people have misconceptions, and then people think they know your family because they seen your parents. How did you
Right.
yourself to just stay the course, stay sane? Because, in this crazy world we live in, people really be thinking they somebody's best friends because they see them on TV. They're like, oh,
So your question is, how do I kind of stay grounded in that sense of?
let me rephrase that. I should say, how do you deal with that, with people and their attitudes and sometimes projections or misconceptions, or just, want to talk to you about that? You're like, no, I'm Lyric. Talk to Lyric. Lyric is here.
Yes. Well, I'm such a private and like low key person that I don't really even discuss a lot of like the entertainment world. And honestly, when I'm face to face with someone, I hope that they don't go there. That's honestly my wish. I'm just like, can we just be two people having a conversation, or and thankfully I think that because I have more of a grounded personality and I don't bring up things of that nature, it hasn't really posed an issue. People kind of just see me for who I am. And also, I don't think I'm in the place in my career yet where that would be a huge entity. That's something my mom probably faces a lot more than I do,
Yeah.
But I think that I'm still in a good space for people to actually be able to connect with me face to face, because it's not something that I throw into the mixture when I'm conversing.
No, that's awesome. I know, because we have a couple friends and they're in, you know what I mean? And we all hear
Yeah,
those stories. So
yeah,
that's a blessing. So I'm super happy for you, because you get to navigate life without any of the rigmarole that comes with
yeah,
in the
yeah.
industry. I would love to know, how do you balance it all now? You know what I mean? Because law school is, arduous, and then just life in general.
Yeah, so wow, I I guess just me, like I said, relying on my faith and, praying and keeping my spirituality as like the center of my life keeps me very grounded. And then during those tough moments where I'm feeling challenged, even in law school, sometimes I'll go through that. I just really have to think about the big picture. Like, what is my long-term goal? What am I trying to achieve? And just think about that rather than maybe what's the short-term ramifications that I might be facing at that moment. I think that that really helps me persevere.
Nice. I love that. Now that the show wrapped and you're in law school, do you have like a little bit of that kind of bug? Like, I want to be on another series. I want to do this. I do, like, because it's you're in such a place where it's like, dang, I need to do this, but oh, this was kind of fun too. I really
Right,
like
right.
that. So
No, that's so true. I was actually talking to my mom about that. I was like, honestly, I'm so glad I did House of Vicious, because that reignited that spark for acting. And I would be so open to auditioning for other projects and pursuing other opportunities in the acting world. So it kind of, they say you get that acting bug. I guess that's what happened.
where does that, tell me, where does that bug, like, what is it? When does that bug bite you? Is it when you're preparing after like a couple of days, you're like, I'm really doing this? Or is it when you're on set? Or is it when you actually see yourself on screen? Or is it just everything?
I'm not even a person that likes to watch myself. It's so weird.
You're
To
like,
watch
set it and forget it. Don't show me. I don't want to see the
myself,
commercial.
because I'm so critical that I'm just kind of like, oh no, like I don't even want to do that. But I guess I would say upon completion, I think you feel very proud of the work that you did. And that acting bug is like wanting to do it again, basically wanting to be on set, wanting to, and maybe it's not even the performance aspect, maybe it's wanting to experience another character.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, what could I do for a different role, or what would that feel like or look like? Or even in with the character that I'm playing, Tia, you know, who is she going to turn into? What is her next story going to be? Like, that's all very interesting, and you want to kind of continue on that road with the character you're portraying.
Nice. I love that you said that because I never thought about it this way. It's like you get to live someone else's life. Like you've lived
Right.
Lyric C. Anderson's life. And now that's where it gets exciting because then there's things you hope that she goes through. You're like, I'm Tia now. So then you're like, well, Tia does this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like me and Tia are nothing alike, and so it's kind of refreshing to be somebody else. You know, especially me, who's a little quieter. You know, I kind of stay to myself. I'm more low key. Like playing those roles that are the complete opposite of who I am, and you know, they're completely, maybe they're bolder or they make different choices. Like that to me is refreshing because it's like being somebody else for a little bit.
Nice. You sound like an earth sign, like a Virgo or a Capricorn or something.
I'm a Libra, but I always say I have so much Virgo. Like I
I was
think
about to say because you sound like you probably have to plan everything out before you make a move.
yes, yes, yes. Some people say September Libras are actually Virgos. Like that's
Yeah.
the whole thing. Like they say
No.
October Libras are the real Libras, and September Libras.
Well, perfect. Just a couple more questions. I want to be conscious of your time. Your fashion, what is it that you love about fashion? We talked about the acting, we talked about law, but like, and what type of fashion, I would say fashionista or stylist or designer or creative are you when it comes to that?
Okay, so I think for me, fashion is more about style. And so I like the idea of being able to put pieces together and kind of be experimental with that and be as creative as you want to be. I wouldn't consider myself to be someone who could ever be a designer because I don't know, like I think where my skill or where my propensity lies is probably on the styling end. And not that I want to be a stylist, but I love the idea of putting looks together, you know, and experimenting with different labels and different brands and things like that. So yeah, it's more so I think the styling side of things.
Nice. It's like call you when I need the charcuterie board to look pretty, but don't call you
Right,
to grow the
exactly,
grapes and
exactly.
make the cheeses.
Yeah. Right, right. I like to make things look nice. So yes, I would be the person who maybe if you wanted to like design and figure out what furniture placement you want to have in your house and things like I could do that, but I'm not gonna be the person who knows the materials and things like
So
that.
don't call you to go shop and call me, send you the catalog. Don't sit here
Right,
feel
right.
great. See, you're like, I'm not that person.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Last question. You're going through so many transitions in your life and progressions in so many ways. What is something, how do you self-care? How do you get back to you at the end of the day? Because you are doing tough things, acting's tough, law school's tough, life is tough.
Yes, yes. Like I said, like faith, prayer, obviously, and then talking to trusted people. Like my mom is my confidant. So if I'm feeling like I just sometimes you just need to vent, you know, sometimes you just need to say and express how you feel. Like
Yeah.
she's someone who I can call and she gives amazing advice. She's very empowering. So that really helps me having conversations with people I love.
Nice. I love that. Well, before we go, we know what you're doing now, but what's next for Lyric if we don't know anything else that's going on in your life right now?
What's next? Well, Lyric needs to get through this semester. So that is where I have finals coming. Well, not finals, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
exam coming up. But yeah, so that's really my focus right now. And hopefully getting ready to start auditioning because you know pilot season's coming up. So hopefully I'll be on that grind too.
Thank you. Well, perfect. Well, look, I've enjoyed myself. I hope you enjoyed yourself
I
too.
did, I did.
And I want to wish you the most luck, success, positive energy, good vibes, everything the Gen Zs and millennials say nowadays. I want to send that to you on your journey to being the lawyer you will be and the actress you will be.
Thank you so much. It was great speaking with you.
You too.